First up is how to get the entire Flawed Helldusk set extremely easily. This can be done through the Infernal Alloy. Not to be confused with Infernal Iron, this seemingly useless item can be used to create the entire Flawed Helldusk set, allowing you to save your Infernal Iron for Karlach, or allowing you to skip collecting them entirely. The Infernal Alloy can be acquired from a Duergar in the Grymforge named Stonemason Kith. He's investigating the craftsmanship of the stone and trying to decipher what happened in the past. You'll have 3 dialogue options after agreeing to help Kith try to understand the ruins. By succeeding all 3 history, investigation, and perception checks and telling him what you've discerned, he will reward you with the Infernal Alloy. Now, chances are most players are not going to succeed all 3. But don't worry, even if you fail, you can trade with him and just buy it off of him for less than 200 gold. But you might not think twice about getting the item since it doesn't seem like anything special. Then, once you have the item, go to Dammon in the Last Light Inn and choose the dialogue option, I found this metal in a place called Grymforge. What do you make of it? He'll craft a piece of Flawed Helldusk armor, and this dialogue option actually will persist, allowing you to repeat it 2 more times, granting the entire Flawed Helldusk set for just this one item. And if you like that tip, don't forget to like and subscribe for more Baldur's Gate 3 videos. And next up is how to guarantee success at the Mirror of Loss. This mirror can grant you +2 to the ability of your choice and +1 to charisma on top of that. The DC 25 religion roll is very difficult for most players, so usually save scumming is the main way everyone uses to get the +2 ability points. However, with this method, you can guarantee success at the Mirror of Loss DC 25 religion check for your entire party to gain access to the +2 to your ability points. Now first, you're going to need to be at least level 11 and change your class to Rogue. We need to be a Rogue for reliable talent so that when we make an ability check for a skill we are proficient in, the lowest we can roll is a 10. When you first change class to Rogue, make sure to dump ability points into Intelligence until it is at least 16. Then at level 4, for our first feat, we need Skilled so that we can become proficient in Religion. Then our next 2 feats can both go into Ability Improvement to bring our Intelligence up to 20. Then the last thing you need is a Bard and a Source of Guidance. The Silver Pendant found in Act 1 is incredible, which lets you cast Guidance, or if you missed it, you can create a Hireling Cleric to cast it on you. If you also don't have a Bard, then you'll need a second Hireling for Bardic Inspiration. Then once you go to the mirror for the DC 25 religion check, you'll automatically get at least a 10 thanks to reliable talent, then add 5 from intelligence and 8 from proficiency plus expertise, which adds up to 23, and then guidance plus bardic inspiration guarantee at least +1 each, bringing the minimum you can roll to 25, guaranteeing success at the Mirror of Loss DC 25 religion check. And when you change classes back, you will keep the bonus ability points. Pretty amazing. However, if you are unfamiliar with how the Mirror of Loss works, you will need to first identify what the object is. I recommend choosing the DC 20 religion option, which is an object of faith. Examine it closely, try to understand its purpose. Since we just maxed out our intelligence and religion skill, this shouldn't be too difficult. You also only need to do it once to allow everyone in your party to offer memories to the mirror. Once you pass that, you've unlocked the dialogue option, gaze into the mirror intent on offering it one of your memories. There are 7 possible outcomes from this dialogue choice, and it appears to be random, so there is still luck involved in getting all 3 of the bonus ability points. But the option to gain +2 to an ability of your choice will never happen unless you pass the DC 25 religion check. So pass the DC 25 religion check before offering any memories in order to increase your chances of getting the +2 to an ability. You have 7 chances total, 1 for each ability, and then the deception option. Now, the deception option, even if you succeed, will actually never yield ability points, so it's not even worth doing. Also, you'll know when you got the +1 charisma point when you get the memory of the disappointed patriarch who was supposed to succeed Stelmane, but Gortash stole their support. And next up is how to create a surface that can infinitely knock enemies back. This can be extremely powerful when placed in a choke point like a doorway or narrow hall. To do this, you need to be a level 7 Storm Cleric to unlock Thunderbolt Strike. This makes it so that when you deal thunder or lightning damage, enemies get knocked back. You'll also want to get a source of lightning charges. There are a number of different sources from equipment, but in our case, I chose to use the Speedy Light feat. When the wearer dashes or takes a similar action in combat, they gain 3 lightning charges. With Expeditious Retreat, we gain dash as a bonus action, letting us gain those charges as a bonus bonus action and then still being able to use our action. Then you'll need a Caustic Bulb. Now, Caustic Bulb is very important because it creates a caustic brine surface which lasts until long rest. Of course, it can still be washed away or replaced by another surface, but if left alone, it has no turn limit. This is why spells like Chromatic Orb, which can create an acid surface, won't work for this. They only last 2 turns. You can only get a consistent supply of Caustic Bulbs by purchasing them from Omelum in the Underdark in Act 1, so make sure to stock up before you head to Act 3. Then, once you have lightning charges, throw the Caustic Bulb and watch your enemies run into the Puddle of Doom repeatedly, never being able to reach you, assuming you did it at a choke point. And next up is how to eat a dwarf to be healed. In Act 1 in the Goblin Camp, there is a fire pit with a lot of meat cooking. Now, most of it is genuine camp supplies like the pork, but there is also roasted dwarf ribs, roasted dwarf legs, and roasted dwarf belly. On any of your companions, this will just be a regular item, nothing usable. But on a Dark Urge playthrough, all of these dwarf parts can actually be consumed for 4d4 healing. Your Dark Urge will even comment how delicious it smells. And you even get inspiration by eating these, so it's definitely worth picking up. And if all that wasn't good enough, it also doesn't cost an action or bonus action to eat this meat, meaning you can get a ton of healing in a single turn if you decide to eat all 4, especially if you're wearing an item like the Periapt of Wound Closure, which allows you to always heal for the maximum amount, which means 16 4 times, which is quite a lot of health. And next up is a condition called Atrophied, which causes instant death. This condition is applied when an ability is reduced to 0. This can be accomplished through a combination of abilities, but mainly from Ability Drain, the Illithid Power. However, the tooltip of this ability says the ability score cannot be reduced below 0, and that's correct. You'll need to use some other ability to reduce that last ability point. For intelligence, there is actually another Illithid Power which reduces intelligence by 1 called Absorb Intellect, which when used on a target with 1 intellect remaining will instantly slay them. Interestingly, although Ability Drain says it goes away at the end of combat, it actually appears to stay until long rest, allowing for shenanigans if you can stay stealthed and consistently hit a target and then just finish them off instantly with Absorbed Intellect. There's also other abilities you can wither away, such as Strength. Once your target is at 1, you can then follow that up with the Shadow Lantern Wraith Pet from Act 2, only available to Gale, to drain that final 3 strength points, or even by reducing dexterity to 0 with the Earth Elemental's Seismic Strike, although that ability triggers a Constitution saving throw and will most likely not go through. Overall, it's a very neat condition that few players probably trigger, since even bosses will likely die before you fully drain one of their abilities to 0. And next up is the Mason of Moonrise. Within the Masons Guild in Act 2, you can find a journal detailing a deal Morfred made with a so-called man touched by a devil in a desperate attempt to defeat Ketheric and his Dark Justiciars. This journal, called the Mason's Log, explains why Duergar was tasked with slaying all the Dark Justiciars. Raphael made a deal and was profiting off both of them. You can even cast Speak with the Dead on Duergar's bed in the Gauntlet of Shar to learn more about the events that unfolded and about the last surviving Dark Justiciar, Lithindor, splitting into his new form. A deal made with Raphael to keep Duergar trapped in the Gauntlet of Shar and to give Lithindor a chance to save his life. There's even a book written by Raphael explaining to Lithindor how to split himself into many rats, each a part of himself. However, all these deals come at a cost, of course. The very same Mason who made the deal with Raphael to slay all the Dark Justiciars can be found in the main hall of the House of Hope as a skeleton. You can even tell him that you defeated Ketheric and watch him find some solace despite his very unfortunate fate. And next up is a trick that makes a single bomb explode multiple times, leading to hundreds of damage. To do this, all you need to do is deal damage to the bomb. The more times you deal damage, the more explosions you get. So by stacking damage riders, you can get it to explode repeatedly, 1 additional time per damage rider. You can see in this example, I have Karlach with the Speedy Light Feat, granting lightning charges for lightning damage, the Callous Glow Ring for radiant damage, a Fire Surface for fire damage, and the Ring of Flinging. And accordingly, you can see the bomb exploded 4 times, dealing 3d4 plus 9 force damage 4 times. You can even cause an extra explosion from dealing falling damage to the bomb. You can see that the Smoke Powder Bomb took falling damage when thrown from the roof of a building. Knowing how to activate your bombs multiple times like this can be really great on a thrower who can throw multiple times in a single turn. And last is a trick to steal everything from a trader. Hotfix 21 fixed the old pouch trick where you could sell the trader a pouch and then put all their stuff in it, switch to another party member, and click take all to steal steal everything. But there is a new method, and it's actually really simple. Open a bag in your inventory, shift click all their stuff, which is a feature they brought back in hotfix 21, and then put all their stuff in your bag. This will charge you for the last item you selected. Now I've heard this isn't working for some people, so there may be some nuances like needing a certain amount of gold going into it, perhaps enough to buy the most expensive item, but this trick does work. Now if you're on console, many of the trader tricks I've shared won't work. However, there is one that many people have been talking about. To get infinite gold on console, have a druid in your party talk to the trader with your tab while your druid companion is wild shaped. You can then sell the gear the druid has equipped, but it stays in your inventory so you can sell it repeatedly. Now I can't confirm this works personally since it does not work on PC, but it sounds like this has worked for a lot of people on console.